She's the Victorian NAIDOC Chairperson. She's out in the hills, all the way out in the hills. I think she's still out in the hills. But let's go meet our next guest. Thank you for joining us, Stacie Piper.
Good morning. How are you going?
I'm good. You look great. You look fresh. You look rock and roll. You ready to rock and roll today?
Ready to rock and roll. And I just danced around to the marindas and, feeling as fresh as a daisy.
It's all in the mind, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
It's all in the mind. It doesn't matter if your eyes are watering and you're yawning loads. You don't need sleep. You just keep going and you freshen up.
I don't think you need sleep. I don't know how you operate.
I think I sleep with my eyes open sometimes, like just days out when people are talking to me. And just check out. But anyway, enough about me. How are you?
I'm good. I've been trying to get in my professional spot because where I speak to people for work is quite dark. So I've got a lamp here that I'm trying to set up. That's probably a bit better.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And I've got my Wah painting behind me, which was going to be a bit of a feature
piece. What is it? What's
it's a painting that I bought during the first lift of restrictions. A gallery just down the road had a big exhibition on, well, not big, but it was a great exhibition on crows. And, Wah is very significant to us. So I found this watercolour and I fell in love with it.
You're hilarious.
I know, I love it. So Wah joins me.
Is Wah Wurundjeri?
Yeah, so Bunjil obviously is our creator and Wah is our protector.
I didn't know that. So.
Oh, there you go.
I'm learning. Bit of culture. Hey, tell us a little bit about what you do and what you're up to at the moment. Introduce yourself, I guess.
Okay, so I obviously work as the chairperson, or volunteer, should I say, as the chairperson for the Victorian NAIDOC Committee.
You get to work, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like you work. So
we work.
Yeah.
We
work.
Yes,
fair point.
And it's great. It's really fulfilling work. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of pressure. And when it is, when in the lead up to NAIDOC week, it's, really high energy, I guess. But when we're all working together, it's really fulfilling. And, it feels like a real sense of achievement. And seeing the community engage and really enjoy even the social media and then loving the events, it's just all worth it. And
how'd you get involved in community, and how did I know you do a little bit of work with curating things, but more so the art space. Tell us a little about how you're involved in curating art. How do you curate art? How does someone know how to curate an art space?
Yeah, it's really bizarre, and it's not something that I aspired to do.
No.
I just ended up doing it. But yeah, I was working at the museum as a project officer, Melbourne Museum, and I had the opportunity to put together, project manage an exhibition in the Djadjawurrung Gallery in Bunjalaka. And that was the 1967 referendum exhibition. So it was a big one. It was like, oh my gosh, I need to get my head around this and, understand it properly. And it was a good experience. So that was a great exhibition. And then the following year I think it was the comics, and that's when I worked with Keenan Muir and Jade Kennedy. And
that's right.
We put Uncle Linonas's historic work on Captain Curry in there. And that was really fun. And a few other features. And then the following year was Because of Her We Can. So we did an exhibition on our women who started up a lot of the health services around Naarm, Melbourne. And obviously there's so many women to honour, but we honoured 9 women in that exhibition, and that was such a great experience to talk to their families and, have them come to the exhibition opening and to really honour some of the women who just haven't really been sung or Yeah, so that was great. And so I really love it. What I realised is that I really love storytelling and connecting with the community. So I guess a curator, I've spoken to a couple of people in the community because I don't see myself as a curator. And I remember Uncle Robbie Thorpe said to me one day, "You're a creator."
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, that sounds more like us, what we do. But I feel like I'm just sort of, my job is to bring the stories through and put them into a space where people can understand a bigger narrative. And the exhibition I'm working on at the moment for TarraWarra Museum of Art, it's a Creative Victoria initiative, which is the Yellingwa program. It's a 6-year program, and I applied for it. I got it. I'm on 2 years leave from the museum. So this is just a 2-year contract. And the first iteration, the first 2 years, was Hannah Presley out at ACCA with Max Delaney. And she did A Lightness of Spirit is the Measure of Happiness exhibition. So I'm doing the next one, which is the next 2-year block.
Cool.
The Minister for Creative Victoria has, appointed these exhibitions. So it's very serious. I feel like, oh gosh, I've gone from the local gallery in Bundjalaka to
So that'll be, I imagine that would be really, is that comforting, I guess, encouraging to know that you've got a 2-year block?
yes,
Like up front. You got 2 years because then it gives you time to build and potentially work on something next, or you get to see a little bit of progress. Is it helpful having 2 years?
yeah. Well,
Is that standard?
it's not standard. So at the museum, we'd have sort of 4 to 6 months to pull it together. But yeah, this was a much bigger contract, and it's obviously a bigger budget. And I saw it as a developmental opportunity. So last year, thankfully it wasn't this year, I got to go around the country to the Darwin Art Curators Symposium as part of the program. I got to do, Tanandi in Adelaide. I did the National Gallery of Australia Leadership Program. It was a 10-day intensive with curators, Aboriginal artists and curators from around the country at National Gallery of Australia in Canberra, and we went to the embassy up there. And so, yeah, last year was a big developmental year, and I connected with lots of people from around the country and learning that there's a lot more out there than just our bubble down here in the south of Australia.
What things in particular did you bring back ahead of that? From your experience at Bundjalaka, you went out to the world, as say the big wide world. I mean, what things really stood out to you in those first few exhibitions that you went to?
Something that stood out to me was, so many things, and I learnt a lot, but I realised that it was okay to talk about your family lineage. A lot of the people who head up a lot of the art institutions and galleries and cultural spaces around the country, that's what they do. They talk about their families. And I sort of refrained from that before, because I think in community there's this view of nepotism or whatnot if you favour your family and things like that. And it's definitely the case in some spaces, you can't favour your family in certain spaces. But when it comes to telling your own story, it's important to talk about your families. And I was in this forum at the National Gallery of Australia, which it was like the last 10-year alumni, so 100 people from around the country, and there were people from Victoria in there. And I felt privileged to be listening to their personal stories. And yeah, it inspired me. So when I got back, I had a presentation to the board of TarraWarra, and it was at a big flash lawyers firm in the city, and I felt like I was in some movie with my laptop, and I'm walking into this big fancy foyer and then up the lift, and I get in there and I had this presentation about the exhibition concept so far and what I think what's taking shape.
Yeah.
But I changed it at the last minute. I'm like, I'm going to tell these people who I am.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I did a presentation that I delivered at the National Gallery of Australia and talked to them all about my family in Coranderrk and my ancestors, and
wow,
I think they blew their socks off, which was pretty cool.
Did it land?
It landed.
Yeah.
it landed because TarraWarra is actually owned by the Beeson family, which they are a beautiful family, and but it's a bit scary when it's a family. You've got board members who are family, and they own, I think, like the Suzanne or Sports Girl chains, and one of the daughters owns M Pavilion, and they're just really successful people. And I was a bit daunted, thinking, "Gosh, I feel like I feel like an imposter." In here.
Yeah.
But they received it beautifully. They were like, wow, we got to learn something really special about Healesville and the space up there. And that's now flowed onto, they're building an education centre, and that's all. I'm on the project team now to help them embed cultural values into the building and into the pavement, into the plants. We're decolonising the plants up there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about your you got a few projects on the go. Probably one that's not as live busy at the moment, but tell us a little bit about Djadjawurrung dancers and your role within that group. Yeah,
so Djadjawurrung is, for people that don't know, the Wurundjeri women's dance group and cultural education network, I suppose, or support group. So we dance at events or at schools and teach about our creation stories and our language. And COVID sort of shut that down, just like the live industry. And we started doing a little bit of zooming. So we'd come in from our own lounge rooms or backyards, and you'd have, it's like the Brady Bunch on Zoom, the big tiled thing, and it just didn't work. It was, it didn't work. And so we had some videos put together. We had some footage that we had filmed 2 years ago when we were up in the logging coop area, and we went to some of the beautiful giants in Talangi or Warburton. So I just hit the guy up, Ryan Hughes, he's amazing, and he and Lauren Hutchison, who are staunch, amazing, strong allies. He filmed it all for us for nothing, and then he spent a whole day, Lauren was feeding him while he just stayed at the computer all day putting these together for us so we could be present during COVID. So I just would send those links and some intro videos to the organisers, and they just play them for their online events. They're brilliant, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't intro you with that video. I'm kicking myself. Outro. Oh, I did. I've got them somewhere. I got this computer about 4 months ago, and it once was, when you get a computer, it's all neat, and you got all your Oh, Fenna, she just woke up. You should see her hair. It's worse than mine. Get her in. Hi, Fenna.
Mom, can I show them my game?
Show us your game.
Look.
What is it? Spider. Just spider.
It's a spider game when you play it. And
Fenna, isn't it a bit early for your iPad?
Look.
Oh, no, you've been busted, Mum.
I've been busted.
Mum, kid, just go get on the screen. I'm busy.
Yeah.
It's so rude. So rude.
No, but we have to limit the screen time. She wasn't interested for a while there. I got it so that she could do online learning. There's no YouTube or anything on there, but she was doing reading eggs, which is brilliant. Kept her learning through COVID. It was working. Fenna,
I love your little daughter.
No! Say hi to everyone. Say hi, Uncle Troy.
Smash it.
All right. She smashed my painting. That's it. You're gone.
What's happening for you over the next week? Let's talk about, and I will play those videos. I might play it when you go. I've got to try and find it first. It's somewhere around.
Do you want me to resend the links?
Oh, you've sent it to me, haven't you? No, that's okay. I've got it somewhere. I'll do it.
Okay.
Hey, tonight, big night.
I know.
First
oh my
event.
Gosh, it's already here.
Yeah, you are also the chair of the Victorian NAIDOC Committee. Is this year 3?
Yes, this is the 3rd year.
Third year of being the chair. What is your responsibilities, and how is this year's NAIDOC approaching the surroundings that we're in? And what's NAIDOC about, I guess?
Well, can I firstly say how awesome we are in Victoria? Because, obviously I don't really watch a lot of sports. I've obviously got too much on my plate, but Victorians are winning all the finals from what I can see in different categories. And I'm telling you, Victorian NAIDOC is putting on the second NAIDOC for this year. Even though we've been in hard lockdowns most of the time.
Yeah, you mean second one because we did the big concert with the Art Centre was huge. Yeah. That was so fun.
The concert in July. So everything was sort of shut down and cancelled, and we were like, hang on, we've got to have something. So we had a concert. We partnered with the Art Centre Melbourne, with Victoria together, and the team at Aboriginal Victoria are just incredible. We were working together around the clock to pull that together, and we had a lucky break. We had that 2-week lift where I bought this fabulous swa, as previously mentioned. But during that 2-week break as well, we were in the Arts Centre with strict COVID restrictions and a strict, tight schedule with all the artists, and we managed to film it all, and then bang, lockdown, and we aired the
It was concert. Epic. It was epic. I reckon most of Australia watched that. And it's
a
pity that it's
around
not,
the world.
It was so good. It was so good.
Yeah.
And now you've got round 2. What's happening? Give us a summary of some of the events and a little bit about NAIDOC. What's NAIDOC about? What's NAIDOC to you, and why are we here?
Yeah, so this year's theme is always was, always will be. And, we chant that theme. It's a very familiar theme to our community. We chant that every year during the marches through the city. I think it means a lot of things, but in general, it just reminds people that we are the oldest and continuous living culture on this land. And we always will be. But yeah, the NAIDOC itself, it's a time of celebrating our achievements and our resilience and our survival. And yeah, I enjoy that aspect of NAIDOC, but it's also, I make sure I remind people that the roots of NAIDOC didn't start that way. It started as a day of mourning in 1938. So Uncle William Cooper, an incredible ancestor, Djadjawurrung man who stood up for the injustices of not just his own people, but all people. He was very strong in the movement back in, I can't even remember what year it was, but Crystal Night, which was the persecution of Jewish people. And he did a petition, and those days it was a physical petition, and he had thousands of people sign it, presented it to Parliament. Even while his own people were being persecuted, he was standing up for what was going on with the Jewish people over in, we all know about that. So he was a beautiful, incredible man, and he started NAIDOC. Well, NAIDOC started as a day of mourning in 1938, and it shifted. That was around January, and then that shifted to July in I can't remember which year. I've got to brush up on my history.
I think
my
it was Invasion.
I think
Invasion Day. I think Jan 26 was the day that it was the day of mourning. I think it originally.
Yeah, I think it was something like the 27th. They gave them their day of mourning, which is after the colony was celebrating.
It always baffles me. Always baffles me those moments where Aboriginal people are doing one thing, and it seems like the response is in complete war against. Like the first action was Aboriginal people, and then the powers that be come in and with another day or something else, or there's some other. It's like what? It's too convenient that you do these things and you pretend that it's something else, like it's a celebration of our colonialism and arrival. It's like, well, hang on, there was something else already formed on that day going on. What's going on with it's trying to iron it out, it seems. Do you feel like that? And it still happens. Like I think about the Djadjawurrung trees happening on the same day that lockdown opened up. Like Dan Andrews mentioned, and we're not politics on here, but I'm just talking about something off the top of my head. While something was really serious going on, everyone was diverted to woo.
Yeah,
and it's like
celebrating our freedom.
None of the media would be also going. And by the way, First Nations people are in a serious pain right now, and trees getting cut down, so no one saw it. It seems all too convenient to be.
We get
diverted. We get diverted all the time.
I know, and I think as you mentioned, I mean, because for me, I'm so not into politics. It might not appear that way. Some people, trolls have said, oh, she's a Greens representative or whatever. It's like, I would not know the first thing really about politics. But I know what I feel is right, and so I just share it. And being positive-minded people, like yourself, like me, when things like that appear, you think, is it really that sinister? Surely it's not. Really.
Yeah, I know.
I believe in a good world, not this evil.
Yeah, I totally get what I think. A lot of Aboriginal people, that's their questioning all the time. Is like, how is it true? How true is it? Some people, and I notice, some people are really, some Aboriginals are like, the whole world is seriously against us, and they take that slant. But then there's also some people slant towards the other way and go, I don't want to focus on those things. I want to focus on the positives, and everyone's kind of pulling the same way. But it's interesting how it can be quite hard, very hard.
It is hard, and just to comment on that, because I had this conversation the other day with someone. It's ringing a bell, because basically, first of all, we've had no reason historically to trust the government. So even having a positive outlook is something that we really need to work on, and that's all to do with our healing of our transgenerational trauma and all that sort of stuff. Some people don't have the luxury of being positive-minded because they're still pulling themselves out of the disenfranchised way of being. I think, it's interesting. It's sometimes not that easy. And if the rest of the world sometimes is going this way, sometimes it's harder to be that voice in the face of diversity and to be that strong voice. And a lot of Aboriginal people are that strong voice and really visionary, just like William Cooper back at a time when people probably thinking, what are you thinking doing this? We've got our own stuff going on here. But on that note, it's going to be really, really interesting because we'll be hearing from Uncle Boydie during NAIDOC Week, who is Uncle William Cooper's only surviving grandson. And he actually lived with him for 9 years. And, he's got a lot of memories still about that time. So hearing from him is going to be really special.
Hey, let's awesome. Let's cover some events. What's happening?
Right.
What's happening? What's happening tonight?
So tonight we've got the awards. So we thought what we'll do is we'll just go ahead with the events. These are literally the official formal events that we hold every year, but we'll deliver it in some way. We're just winging it. We don't know how it's going to come across because we're not professional TV producers.
No, we're not.
But I'm pretty impressed. I know you've talked about this choice, so it's okay, but you have been helping us immensely with a lot of the filming and interviewing, and actually just a lot of the visual branding and things like that. So thank you.
No worries.
We thought we'd just go with the standard events. So the standard events are the awards, the flag raising, the Pride Night.
When's flag raising? Give me days. Monday?
Oh, well, I will. The March, the Community Cabaret. So, the awards is tonight. Flag raising is on Monday. Kicks off the week formally. Pride Night is next Thursday. The March is next Friday. And then the Community Cabaret is Saturday, which would normally be the ball. So, we've got flyers and information all on the website with dates and a little bit of a breakdown. But so the awards we'll be hearing from some past award winners.
That's cool. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the community. But also, I mentioned earlier, it's invitational for everyone now. Like you got no excuse to check in and go, I wonder what NAIDOC is about. Well, here is the most easiest sit on your couch method of, I wonder what NAIDOC is about for Victorians at least. And whilst it's not exactly how we do things, it's usually a lot more interactive. I think people are still going to get a good snapshot, and we've got I'm going to be playing your Djadjawurrung videos and some of the interviews and hearing from some of the past awardees is hilarious.
It's going to be really special.
Yeah.
I think it'll be different in the way that we'll be hearing more from people because, as you said, they're sitting in their lounge room or at their desk at home. They've got more space they're more relaxed. Yeah. So I think there'll be a nice sharing of what NAIDOC really means to them and what their experience was like.
And what's happening on Sunday next week? There's something really special, and I know Stevie Thorpe would love some support with this one. So explain what's going on next Sunday if you're in Melbourne, in Collingwood, around that way, within 25 k's, of course. What's on?
Yes, so hopefully this Sunday the 8th we have more restrictions lift, so we could have a, no limit on k's.
Cool.
Fingers crossed. But the Collingwood housing estate, every Sunday, Dee Dee's Kitchen, which is Damien and his daughter. I can't remember his daughter's name, but they're just beautiful.
Damien and daughter makes sense. D and D.
Yeah,
So
D and D.
Damien and daughters.
They feed the homeless basically, and their strategy or their values are that no one should ever be basic human rights is food and water. So they provide this. So they've paired up with Stevie Thorpe, a Gunai Wurundjeri fella, and they feed people every Sunday down at the Collingwood Public Housing Estate.
Awesome.
And so we're going down on Sunday, the 15th, with a big screen, and we're going to screen all of the events for the mob down there. So they're going to get a feed. They're going to watch all the events, the cabaret, the Pride Night, and it's going to be really, really good. And I think you're going to be roving around interviewing.
Yeah,
people.
I'm gonna stream live. I won't stream to really good radio. I don't. Oh, maybe I will. But maybe we'll do an actual Vic NAIDOC exclusive stream and stream it to our website. And I think that will make more sense.
Yeah, that would be great.
Oh, it's going to be cool streaming live.
I can't wait. I'm going to be there. Hang on. I might get a work permit.
I know. Note briefly, everyone, these events that are going to be produced that you tune into are all done by volunteers. It is an incredible work with some help of some professional support. I wouldn't call it professional, but it is an incredible output that Victorian NAIDOC put on every year, and I really appreciate you taking this small slither of your time ahead of the tornado. Where's Tornado? Thank you so much, Stace.
She's demanding I charge her iPad now.
Fenna! She got
Can I come and say bye to everybody? Come on.
I love Fenna. Hey, if you just tuned in, we are talking with the Victorian NAIDOC chair, Stace Piper, and in the background, Fenna the Tornado. Oh. Anyway, Fenna, you've missed your chance. We're going to have to talk later. Stace, thanks heaps for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, and everyone jump onto vicnaidoc.com.au and check out the events.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And I'm gonna play your video. I'm gonna play your video.
Bye.
Clearly, technical things aren't on the fingertips, but that was Stacie Piper, Victorian NAIDOC chairperson, curator, art curator. Accidentally just fell into it. No worries. And incredible dancer with the Djadjawurrung dancers. Please look them up. Jury dancers as Djadjawurrung. Djadjawurrung dancers. Hey, the chat line came crawling in. I really wanted to not talk about the chat line while Stace was on, so she can have the most amount of time to plug herself, but also we can understand who she is and what she does and where she's going and what she's doing. Annie, Suhan Hunter, Leonette George, Marcia, you go girl. Fenna, everyone loves Fenna. Love Fenna. Carissa Grant, Shell, Johnny. Hey, Johnny, welcome. Great to see you and listen to Stace. First time on this channel. Johnny, welcome. Welcome. I love a new listener. And if you want to listen back to any shows and get a gist of what this is even about, why we're even on air, we're providing healthy news content. And sometimes I do get calls when I'm on air, and Ben McNamara is calling me right now. I've answered it so he can actually hear that I'm on air, but I'm going to have to call him back. Ben, I'll call you back. Yeah, so that was Stacie Piper. She's just ahead. It's tonight, Victorian NAIDOC Awards, and we are ready to launch 5 huge events, starting with tonight. And before I head forward, I should have done this the other way around, but who cares? This is what Stace does. You got to watch this. It's incredible. Hopefully I can make this work. Look at your screen now. It's impressive. I've got to make sure. I done this yesterday with recordings. Facebook, close window. Oh, dearie. Ben, stop calling. Okay. Look at your screen now.